Greetings, Minecrafters. Nonsanity here, and welcome to another episode of Avant 3 here on the FTOG server. I have been doing some experiments and building and getting ready to start processing all the stuff I need for my induction matrix. So I'm going to take you through some of it. Let's get started with this bit. Oop, that's my... Hello. Yeah, I've built some stuff here, and I actually built it several times, trying out different configurations. And I think I'll show you what this is and how to make it. I'll talk a little bit about this mod, and then I'll show you what I got going on back over here and what it's doing. What all this is doing. And there's a little bit down there that I've changed around to help out with the production of my iron. I'm still short on the iron. I am at 4.28 million. I also now have 600,000 ore, which, using the 5x processing, is 3 million ingots, though that's slower to process than it is to create. So that gives me a little over 7 million, but of course I need a little over 9 million, so it'll be running for a little bit longer. It's the gardens over here. I was offline for a few days, and they ran out of hose. So to make sure I didn't run out of the wither diamonds, I have this huge chest here, and over the last 2 days, it's gone through, a whole row of wither diamonds. Wither diamonds. And each one of these wither diamonds is a wither star, another star. So it's used a lot of nether stars, but then, hey, I can make lots. I've got lots. Actually, I left that running too. Let me go and check on... That was interesting. How many do we got in here now? 13,000. Alright, I could probably turn it off again. Whenever you can turn something off on a server, it's probably a good idea to do so. Especially when I got something that's running this fast. So instead of turning it completely off, I'm just going to take down the imaginary time block, slap it over here so it doesn't do anything. It has no power now. And this will run at minimum speed, but it'll keep running, making the nether stars. I also populated this thing with a lot more than it used to hold, so it can keep running for a long time. I forgot to put my stuff back on. Really should put a frame over here for getting back, but I can always teleport. So, let me walk you through this part. Let me explain it first. This is the mod Refined Storage. And if you look at some of these parts, you might say, hey, that looks a little bit like Applied Energistics. And it is. It is a, I guess you could say, clone of Applied Energistics. It's not an exact copy. It's not like somebody's taking it over. It is definitely an homage to Applied Energistics. You can see the drive blades look the same. The controller looks very similar. But it doesn't have channels, so it's more like the original Applied Energistics. Many of you may have first come into my channel from my Applied Energistics 2 tutorials on how to manage your channels, but this doesn't have any. Other than that, it is very similar to Applied Energistics, even needing to make printed silicon, and you have your iron, your gold. Let's see, none of these have anything in them. Basically inscribers here. These are called solderers, but it's similar to the inscriber in Applied Energistics. So this little setup here, if I come along and that's my input chest now. If I take iron, gold, and diamond, and I also need 1 redstone for each, and silicon for each. And I come over here and I throw all these ingredients into the chest where there was already some spare redstone. The iron goes into this one once it gets to it. It's doing silicon right now. Silicon goes into these 3 back ones. 1, 2, there, it's got it. And 3. So as soon as this one's full, it'll go on over here. I should probably put some speed upgrades. It'll go a lot faster. Do I have some? I do. Not many, but enough to significantly increase... Oh, that's the wrong. Those are speed upgrades for Mechanism. Let me make some real quick here. Oh, look, I've got the upgrades tab open. I want these upgrades. Let's get a full 15, which is the max you can put in. And that'll empty it out pretty quick. Except the redstone, which is going... Actually, a lot of the stuff goes down that way. I should probably put half of them up here. Alright. So anyway, yeah, the silicon goes into these 3 back ones. This one gets the iron, which turns it into iron printed basic processors. Gold goes in here, turns into printed improved processors, and the diamonds go into here for printed advanced processors. Those 3 get sent down to these 3 due to filters. I could have done channels, but I wanted multiple things going to multiple places. Filters were easier. And the silicon, printed silicon, also goes down into these. So you get the basics made from iron with redstone and the silicon, and it creates the basic chip, basic processor. The gold makes the improved processor, and the diamond makes the advanced processor. And then this machine over here is just for doing manual recipes, which so far has almost all been speed upgrades. I've been making in there as I needed them. These have all been upgraded with 4 speed upgrades, so they work pretty quickly. As you can see, that stack I stuck in there is more than half gone, and the diamond, iron is completely gone. Oh, Grox. Later. Gold is done by now. Yep. Diamond is on the way out. Yep, so those make the processors, and they all come down here and go into an input chest here, which gets sent back into my main storage. So, I'll tear this down and show you how to put it together. Alright, all gone. The first thing you're going to need to make for this mod is the controller. Let's bring it up. Refined storage. The controller is diamond, silicon. You can use any of the silicons. Well, no, there's two silicons. You have to make some quartz enriched iron. You'll need a good bit of that, which is iron and nether quartz, which gets you 4. And a machine casing, which is more of that quartz enriched iron. 1 diamond, and you can make one of these controllers. You just need the one. It accepts regular RF power, and it converts that to its own internal power, which is RS, refined storage power, I guess, and gets divided up among all the things you have connected to the network. And you're going to need to make some cable, which is more of that quartz-enriched iron, and the solderers, which is more of that quartz-enriched iron. Like I said, you're going to need a lot of it. Some sticky pistons. I've got 10 of the solderers, because that gives me, I think, plenty of dedicated machines for everything. I'm going to have some item conduits for moving things around, an input chest. Let's see, there's 10 filters. No, 11 filters. 10 filters. 11. And then those speed upgrades we just made. So let's start laying this all out. Now I'm going to want the bottom machines, there's going to be 4 of them, 3 final assemblers, like these. Those are for the 3 processors, and then the one that I'm going to be using by hand. We're going to place some more conduit back here, and another row of solderers on top. I want that one place. There's nothing there. There we go. Some more conduit here. And here. And the last row of... Oops. Last row of solderers like so. And then conduit like that. Now I think to save on speed upgrades, I am going to get one more piece of item conduit and put that here where the chest used to be. And instead I'm going to put the chest, I'll put it down here where it's easier to get at. There we go. And that'll be where I put my speed upgrades. Alright, now we need to get out our wrench, the Yeti wrench. Oh, and this cable. All these machines need to have power from the controller here. As you can see, none of them are touching the controller, though they are touching each other. They will pass the power between them, but each of these groups of 3 or 4 need to be connected to the controller. Now, that's easy, they're connected, that row is connected, and just 2 more like that, and let's the top row be connected. Now they're all powered and ready to function. But we need to do some cable work here. Alright, so first things first, we need to disconnect some things. All of the solderers output from the bottom, and they can input from everything else. So we don't want any connection here on the sides of these back 3, so I'm going to disable those. Let's do all the disabling first. So that's disabled. This side one over here is not required. We'll disable that one. We have 3 inputs on the top. These back ones, actually, you know, we can save a few pieces of cable by doing a slight rearranging. Let's go like that. Actually, then it doesn't need to be up so high, but I do need to move my banner over. Yep. Crouch. And just put it there. Alright, let's disconnect these, because they're happen to be built up against the matrix. Alright, now these are all going to be inputs. These are going to be outputs. These are going to be inputs. This one is going to be disconnected, because that's our main. Well, actually, no. That can go ahead and have. It's probably just easier to break it and place it again. That can have a connection. Bottom, these will all be outputs, and then the only cables we haven't looked at yet are back here. And aside from this one, we don't need. That looks correct. Alright, so these are inputs. Insert, insert, insert. We don't need to filter them, because what's coming out of these 3 will be the printed silicon. They can connect to each other, so that the silicon can go into any one of them that's available. They should go into the closest one by default. So these cables are done. No filtering required. Up here, now here we do need filtering on each of these 6. So I want the back 3 here to do silicon. So I think these 3, since they're stacking, are all going to be silicon. Yep. Oh, but it's supposed to be an insert. Insert whitelist silicon. Insert whitelist silicon. Same here. And now I want this one to be iron. Insert. Now I gotta figure out which one is which. That's gold. That's diamond. That's diamond processor. That's gold there. That's the iron. That is that processor. So that must go there. That must be the iron. Yeah, okay. So this one will be whitelist iron. This one will be insert whitelist gold. And this one will be insert whitelist diamond. Alright, all those cables are complete. Now this one, because I was using it for a lot of speed upgrades, I have a blank upgrade as a filter, so I can put them in here. They don't stack, so putting a bunch in here, let them pipe in, and the other two ingredients stack, so I can have a whole bunch run at once. Here we're going to extract. This is the diamond. Oh, wait. We're looking at the bottom. This is insert. Insert. This has the printed advanced processor from diamond, redstone, and printed silicon. Printed silicon is going to be coming in the back from these machines, but I also wanted to be able to accept it from here in case I have extra. So if I have some, and I do have some now that are floating since I took everything apart, I can toss them in there and they'll populate these machines. Insert gold. Oh, no, that's iron. Gold. And insert iron. These will be extract all the time. I think I need to do that for the other ones as well. I don't think I set these to extract all the time. And then the only other thing I need to do is extract these all the time. There we go. What happened? I don't have the right program in there. Conjure block. There we go. I tend to leave it on overgrow because that can't do any harm if I fire it accidentally. So into this one I can put our speed upgrades, set it to all the time, and these were set to all the time. Yep, I think that's all done now. All I got to do is put all these speed upgrades back in, which thankfully you can shift, drag across a bunch of them, which makes it easy to put them in. Oh, ran out. I think I have more here than I need. I think there were some in the chest that I'd forgotten about when I was making lots. I got one extra. It's not too bad. Toss that in. Okay. Let's get out some of the spare materials I've got. So like all these printed circuits, and those, and the redstone. So that should be making these things run. Yep, running, running, running. So they're full up on the silicon. Yep. And now let's go ahead and get out some fresh raw materials. Silicon is always the annoying one. If I wasn't using my cobble generator down there to make smooth stone, I would have it making silicon. And I'll probably get to that eventually. So let's toss all this in. So now we should have iron, gold, diamond. In the back ones we have silicon processing. And down here these should all be filling up. Yep. This number's going up. Those numbers are staying up. And we should see them flicking past in here along with all my smooth stone and iron. I'm not seeing them move. They're building up. Well, oh yeah, this has to be an input. There's always something you forget. There they go. See them? Alright. So that's going to make lots of those processors because I needed a lot. Why did I even get into this refined storage when I have my nice, huge 39 million item storage here? Well, when I move into the new base, I want to take all my stuff with me. And I'm going to break this. No, I can't. You can break all of these guys. Every single one of them. And all your stuff will still be in here, even though your capacity will be at 0. You'll be able to take things out. You just won't be able to put things back in. This block here holds all the materials, really, as far as the computer is concerned. That's why I can't break it. That would spill 34 million drops onto the ground. We don't want that. That would definitely kill the server. And trying to recover the server would mean my entire inventory will be wiped out. So, thankfully, you can't break these. And I had already known this from elsewhere, or otherwise I would never have tried doing this. So I can't move it. You can't move this. So in order to get all this stuff to my other base, I am going to have to move it into some other storage system. And so I thought, okay, well these guys use disk drives, like Applied Energistics. Each of these drive units, these blocks, holds 8 storage drives, up to 64K. So that's 64,000 items in each one of these disks. Which means each disk drive can hold up to 500,000 items. Now again, I've got almost 40 million items capacity. I've actually got about 34.3 million. That would require, over 60, over 70, I think, drives with maxed out storage disks. That would be a lot of processors. Don't know if I want to do that. I mean, these things hold 500,000 each too, these blocks. And they're a whole lot easier to make, a whole lot cheaper. So far, I haven't had any trouble with this mod storage, though other people have. The only thing I don't like about it is there doesn't seem to be any way for me to programmatically, in the sense of controlling redstone, tell how much of a particular item I've got in here. There's no level emitters as Applied Energistics has, or detector as Refined Storage uses. So while I can see how much is in here now, thanks to these nice tooltips, a request I made, there's no way to tell my machines to stop when I have a certain amount of something, like my 9.4 million iron. So moving it into refined storage might be worthwhile in the long run. But that's not what I'm doing right now, because so much of this material, all this redstone, all this gold, all this iron, plus more, all this steel, all this osmium, all this glass, I don't need to move it with me because I'm going to be using it to make things. See, my gold is going down. I'll get to that in a moment. If I make all my induction cells before I move, that's, 40, well, that's probably like 30 million right there. I mean, Iron is 10 million. Redstone is 10 million. That's more than half of my storage needs right away as soon as I built my 16 by 16 by 16 inner chambers of induction cells. So I should do the construction here, and then I can move all my stuff. So I thought, alright, well, I better get going. I don't have all the iron I need, but I can start with some of the pieces that don't require much iron. Now, when I'm making the ultimate induction cell, it needs a lot of these energy tablets. I need 4 to make this. It needs 4 of these elite cells, and each of those requires 4 tablets, so that's another 16. And then those require 4 of these, and those require 4 of those. As you can see, then that's 64 of those, and then we get down to the lowest level, which, here we go, requires 4 more. And then each level of basic energy cube requires 2, though those don't multiply by 4 at each level. There's just 1 at each level. In essence, I need a lot of those tablets, and they're very annoying to craft with, and not so much to craft, but to craft with. So I thought, alright, I'm going to just use an RF Tools crafter. Here it is. It is making tablets out of 3 gold, 4 redstone, and 2 enriched alloys. That is where the iron is used. The recipes for these guys is, as I just said, and the enriched alloy is an iron ingot each. So for each energy tablet, I need 2 iron. So I am using a good bit of iron right now, but I'm still making it faster than I'm using it. Because this isn't a super fast production line. You can actually see them going past. That's fine. I mean, I could speed it up, but right now it's limited by the enriched alloys, which we've got a lot of machines working on. So I could have had this pipe back into my storage. I've got room, and I can even make more room. But I don't need to make more room because I'm using more materials than I'd be putting back in. I'm using 9 items to make 1. So slightly more than 9 because I have to enrich the iron with redstone at a 8-to-1 ratio, I think. But once it's in here, it wouldn't know when to stop because there's no way to read how much I've got in here. So I thought, okay, well, I can use refined storage because this does have, like I said, the detector that lets you detect how much of something you've got. But I don't really need that because by having this bank full, that's 512, and this bank full of 64s, that's another 512, and this one having 6 64s, 116, and a 1K, combine that with an extra 408, I think. Sorry, just killed a bug on the wall. 408 additional tablets, which I made earlier and stuck back in here. Tablet. There they are. 408. That gives me just enough to make everything I need to make. So as soon as these are all full, this thing will jam up. There'll be 4 sitting here extra. And it'll stop. Everything will back up and stop automatically because this storage is full. Then I can pipe that storage into here once everything is turned off completely. So this automation will run until this is full, and it'll stop, and I'll have just enough. So what is this automation? Alright, well, we've got a importer with no filters, but plenty of speed upgrades, so it won't fall behind. It's sucking things, these tablets, out of the output and injecting them in here. Now, it needs the tooltip as well. You can see, that's easier actually to look at the drive. I've got 59,000 tablets, and you can see how fast they go up. They go up bunches of 4. Now it is getting gold and redstone from the main storage through these 2 extraction ports set to redstone and gold, and fully upgraded extractions into the top of the crafter. Now the reason I have these separate and not having both gold and redstone on one of these extraction ports is because it looks like if all the gold was full and gold was in the first slot, it would take a piece of gold and try and push it out. It'll be unable to, and it'll jam. It'll never switch to doing redstone. And I want both gold and redstone going at the same time. So by having 2 different extraction ports, that prevents that lockup and keeps these materials flowing. Now for the enriched alloy, it gets a little bit more complicated because I don't have those made. I got to make them here. So the first step is in the back. I've got a redstone extraction port. This is not speed upgraded, I don't think. No, because it doesn't need to be that fast. It's coming down here to an elite enriching factory. You see they're completely full. These things are not being used up very fast, so that slow speed of the default conduit is more than enough. I don't even really need an enriching factory elite level back here, but yeah, I went ahead with that. So these are compressing the redstone, so you get 8 times the performance for it when doing your infusing. And it's outputting here and inputting into all of the infusers, and I've got 6 going here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. So they take the compressed redstone and they liquefy it and they pour it over top of the iron ingot and they make the enriched alloy. Meanwhile, the iron is coming in from this extraction port and going to the tops of them all. And the back side here is where the output is being extracted and sent into this guy. And really it doesn't need to be there. I could have just put it over here and it would make a lot more sense. Though I don't want it going into the tank. Not that I think it can. And that is now an insert. And it gets a big backlog for those few seconds it was disconnected. So that gets us our 3rd ingredient. And then the rest of the space is filled with basalt, just so we don't get too much. And I've got it all hit the R, so it leaves the ghost copies, and so it won't fill up with redstone while it's waiting for more enriched alloy. So energy tablets are being produced. And you can see it's slowly filling up. It's got a long way to go. It's got to fill this one up and then 2 more drives. So when this one's half full, we're 1/6 of the way. Actually, slightly more than 1/6, because this isn't the full 512. It's only 401. So that is what I'm using refined storage for currently. I will eventually, I think, move all my stuff into it. But we're going to wait until we've got all of the induction pieces made, so I can more easily transfer all that stuff. May still take a day or 2 to shovel it all through some importer pipes. Compare damage, mode whitelist, type items, redstone mode, and I haven't used refined storage before. This is the first time, but it's so similar to applied energistics, I had no problem setting this up and visualizing what I wanted to do with the soldering stations, solderers. Okay, so now the one problem here is, now that I'm starting to use the iron as I'm producing it, am I actually going down? Or am I just staying stable? It looks like I'm going up. Yeah, I'm going up very slowly. But that means I don't need to get up to 9,000 because I will have used a bunch. I will have used twice as much iron as I have items in the disk drive. So I've used 60,000, so that's 120,000 iron has now been used. Alright, that's not bad. I can easily, look in these 3 drives, add up whatever these numbers say, multiply by 2, and add that to my totals in here, and then look at the ore and multiply that by 5 and add that. And that tells me what my current iron total is. And once it reaches 9.4, I can turn off the farms, which are probably the biggest drag on the server right now that I'm causing with my little factory stuff. As you can see, I'm following my usual pattern in my first base of having everything smashed together. But at least I'm doing it out in the sun, which is nice. That's a change for me still. I'm actually not looking forward to going into my underground chamber. Maybe I'll take the roof off. Anyway, that is where I am now. And I will have to think of what else I can do besides just wait for this stuff to run. And I will be back in a moment. Oh, yes, I did forget one thing. The farm is creating the iron essence, but there's actually 2 ways that can be used. Here we go. You can use 8 of them to make 2 iron ingots, or you can use 8 of them around smooth stone to make an iron ore. Now, because for the osmium I have that whole 5x processing plant, by making stone and putting it in, I can turn this into 5 ingots instead of just 2. So that is a much better deal. And I ran out of stone. So I went down here to my... why is that empty? Oh, I can actually increase the speed on this. Let's get out 2 of them. Put in 1. See what that does. So it's flickering at 2. Staying at 2. Alright, we can put in the next one. Oh, there's more 2s. I'm seeing 3s. Okay. That's now producing the cobble faster than I am using it. Yes, yes. They're all 3. And now 4s are appearing. Okay, good. That looks ugly. I took the smelt spell off of here because I very rarely used it. I use these other things more often, but maybe not greater infusion. But I did put it into a ring. So you can pull that ring out and zap. It's sort of a handy little... It's one of the psionic upgrades mod. Once you get the ebony, you can make one spell handheld items. Pretty handy. Not as handy as having everything on one tool, but, for those things you don't use very often, just stick them in your bag. So anyway, yeah, this is just taking the cobble and smelting it up and shipping it back into my storage. And then on the back here, where I was always doing my crafting, open the crafter here, we're getting the iron essence in these 2 slots, and then the stone goes into all the rest. And I've got the recipe set here. So it's making the iron ore. That iron ore gets output from this extraction port and into this chest, which is accessed by the 5x processing plant, which we can hop over to. And we come down here, and again, all my conduits and pipes are still invisible. But these are all processing iron ore. Now, when it comes time to switch between inputs, I went from the osmium to the iron. When I first put the iron in, none of these machines took on the iron fluid. It went ahead and got melted and washed into the clean iron slurry. but it stayed in the pipes here that you can't see, that are on top of this blocks, but did not go into the machines because they all had a little tiny bit of osmium slurry. For that, again, use the, not the hand pump, where is the gauge dropper? There it is, the gauge dropper from Mekanism. Take that and click on your tank here, and it'll suck up the tiny little bit that's in there. And if none of them have enough to make another crystal, the one dropper can usually suck it out of all of them. As soon as you suck it out, it gets filled up with the iron from the pipes that are invisible here. And then you can take your dropper over to a convenient tank, drop it in here, it empties into the tank, and I've got the tank set to dumping, which empties the dropper. And I can put it back in my storage for the next time I need to do any clean out. So that's how you clean out these guys. And everything else is running at normal speeds. This guy seems a little slower than some of the others, but it's got full 8 speed, so that's just the way it is. And it all comes out down here in the form of iron, which comes back to the old base, hopping mad, hopping at least, into this chest. Oh no, that's there. Down into this chest. There is the iron, which goes into this input into the system. Yeah, this just the whole 5x process also needs a supply of gunpowder. Thankfully, with all of the gas upgrades I put into the machines, it's not using a lot. This is very slowly going down. I had 500,000 a couple days ago. It's down to 400,000. If it ever drops too low, I'll put some gas seeds back into the farm and produce some more gunpowder. So that is where I am currently. I don't think there's any other changes around. Nope, nothing else since I did the prank. This thing is still completely full. Well, it's down a little bit because I'm using it, but it's filling up. No changes there, no changes here. Yeah, everything else looks the same. See if anything's happening in spawn that I haven't seen or you haven't seen. Oh, you got mushrooms now. Who was the one who got these? I wasn't mistaken. I think it was Toddy, I think it was Toddy. I'll have to check the videos. Somebody said they found those and ocelots and polar bears, but they must have been doing a lot of exploring. Did anything get put into this place? Shop now open. Relic steel and stuff shop. He's got steel. He's got 10 stacks of steel and 4 stacks of concrete. Payment is not required. Donate something if you wish. And then... okay. Hey, Relic. I've got more steel than you. Well, oh, this is new. What's this? Coming soon. Woolen glass. This is woolen glass. That's white stained glass. Woolen glass is coming. Okay. What's woolen glass? I don't know. Oh, I think it's wool and glass, perhaps. I thought I'd heard of woolen glass, but I don't see any in this pack. Quite clear, dark clear, all the chiseled glass. I don't know. We'll see what comes. The weather station, the arena. Looking good. Look at what rows did to the columns. Very nice. I like these little blue doodads here. Or different colors. I think he's got potions rigged up in the walls. Spencer, yeah. Healing, fire resistance, swiftness, night vision. So they're good potions. And some fire charges. And some poisons. So there's good and bad potions scattered about. And some arrows. And oh, we even have a dropper here with some more stuff. Ah, and buttons probably to fire everything off. Interesting. We'll have to see what comes of that. Oh, those are different CG Chisel and Bits banners. I like those. It's a whole lot better than the default banners. There's Grok's Block Shop, Thorgal's Sea Temple stuff. Do we have stuff going on over here in Link's place? Second floor coming soon. It's got a computer. Free books to write order in. Please write it in a book below, and I process the order when I can. If you need an item or anything, payment will be cash on delivery. Most of the time it'll be free. For super rare, hard to get items, there shall be a small fee. Place order here. There's no current orders. Free dungeon loot. Oh, have the coloring things, molecular colorizers, some condensed blood. Ah, a box of eternal closure with a forgotten player and a vengeful spirit. Mysterious potions. Plenty of sprouts of different types. Lots of saddles and horse armor. Name tags. I can toss those into the head shop. Oh, I'm locking something. Whoa, weird. That was strange. Oh, look. This hill has been flattened, and somebody's laid out a counting marker. I think Thorgal said there was something he wanted to do here. And it is right next to his passive mob farm. We have the spaghetti shop. And the head shop. And what's going on up here with Mistaken's? I think this is Mistaken's place. Just pay whatever you feel like. Nothing at all. We still have the ghasts and lassos here. Nope, she's out. These are empty. And there's just payments in there. So, that is the current state of spawn. I think we're going to end it there. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you would like to see me do. I am still working to finish the induction battery. But I can do some other things whenever he gets stuck just waiting for stuff to craft. I mean, I'm making millions of stuff, so it takes a while sometimes. If there's something I could do in the meantime that you might like to see in this pack, of course it has to be something that's in this pack. Maybe something that you would like to automate, but haven't figured out how. Or you're confused as to how to use something in the mod pack that there aren't any good tutorials on, or none of the other guys on the server have talked about. Get a bunch of stuff in there, but not as much as I would have thought. Do have a lot of fish. Yeah, but leave it in the comments, and I might get around to it. So, until next time, this is Nonsanity, signing out. Take care, be good, and see you next time.